Thank you for joining the 182nd workshop by the CSH and CPR. Uh, Today, we are very pleased to welcome Anisha Garg, who is currently candidate, PhD doctoral candidate at the University of Warwick in economics. Um, and she's working on many different things, but today she'll present to us on safe travels, transport development and women's safety in India, which basically looks at, and this will become clear as she um, presents the work today, as to how the expansion of the metro rail system has impacted reports of crime against women. Anisha, you have about anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes. Um, and then we open up for questions. And once for people who are asking questions, please feel free to type them in or just raise your hand and I'll try and unmute you. We'll take it from there. Usually our question answer session is open-ended, but I recognize that it is sort of, it's sort of midday for you. Anisha, apart from doing her doctoral work, also coordinates an international students workshop. And what is interesting about that workshop is it's hosted by Warwick and by Monash, who are at two different ends of the time spectrum, and therefore they're able to exploit that difference to cater to the globe in terms of people who present. So for those of you who are economic students and would like to present at that workshop, I would urge you to get in touch with Anisha, and I'm sure she'd be happy to receive proposals for presentation during that workshop. So with those words, Anisha, welcome again, and the screen is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present at this platform. Second of all, please feel free to submit your papers for the next session, next season of AYEW, which will start. I think the call for papers will be somewhere around July or August, but yes, please send us the papers. Without wasting further time, I'll dive right into the project that I'll discuss today, and feel free to interrupt me in between if you have any questions. Okay, so basically, the idea for this project came from my personal experience of staying in Delhi all my life. I don't think I would have been able to go for a job, for a corporate job from North Delhi to Gurgaon had it not been for the Delhi Metro. I don't think my parents or even I myself would have felt comfortable traveling using a bus. And by using a car, we all know it takes more than 3 hours if it's the peak time. So, based on my personal experience, I thought about working and proceeding on this particular idea. Okay. So, developing countries are investing a lot of money in their transport networks, which might be to improve social inclusion or improve connectivity across different regions within the city. However, such well-intentioned investments might have implications for crimes against women. Now, as we all know, women's safety is one of the pressing global concerns. According to World Health Organization's 2018 estimates, about 33 to 36% of women in the lower middle income countries report that they have felt at least one sort of atrocity against them. Apart from inflicting immediate physical harm, these crimes also create a sense of an environment of insecurity, and it creates a fear in the mind of women whenever they are thinking about their education or labor market decisions. I think there's a very nice paper by Girija Borkar where she shows that it's now published in AER, where she shows that females, even though they are eligible for a higher ranked college in Delhi University, choose to go for a lower ranked college just due to the safety of travel route. So therefore, therefore we think that it is important to study what is the impact of transport expansion on safety of women. Now, there can be multiple potential channels by which a new transport system might be impacting women's safety. First of all, whenever there is a new transport infrastructure, there will be better surveillance. There will be new CCTV cameras. There will be more security personnel. There will be more lighting because it's new. And not just on the train or within the station, even the surroundings around the station will improve with the new transport option. This is what we call the safety effect, and we expect that due to this safety effect, we will see that there should be a decrease in crimes against women. However, there's on the other hand, it might also mean that people from neighboring areas might be coming to the areas with this new transport system to access those opportunities, be it for a safe travel to their education institute or to their corporate office or just to the marketplace. So that might increase the number of potential victims within the areas where the new transport station is. And as a result, there might be an increase in crimes against women. This is what we term as the volume effect. Finally, whenever there's a new transport system, the benefits don't stay limited to the area where it opens. It spills over to the neighboring regions as well. And there might be a transportation of opportunities and crime across different regions. This is what I term as the spatial effect. And as in all the economics of crime literature, there is always the question of whether the reporting of crimes translates into actual crimes as well. So, for example, if after the opening of metro stations, it might be the case that more women feel safe to venture out for employment. As a result, they might become less tolerant to any sort of domestic violence or any sort of sexual crimes against them on the street. So they might start reporting more. So it's not that the actual crimes are increasing, but it might just be the case that they're reporting more now because they're more aware. So that's what is the reporting effect. So what I'll try to do today is I'll try to speak to these different mechanisms. I'll try to show the impact I'll try to causally establish the impact of new metro stations on crimes against women as well. So, in a brief summary, my research question is, does the opening of the first metro station in a police jurisdiction in Delhi impact reported crimes against women? What I'll be doing is I'll be exploiting this natural experiment where the government constructed this mass transit metro rail system across Delhi. For my dependent variable, I'll be using the universe of crime reports that are registered at every police station in Delhi every day. So it's basically at whatever time the crime is reported. It's at a very high spatial and temporal frequency. For my estimation strategy, I'll be exploiting the staggered opening of metro stations across Delhi jurisdictions between 2016 to 2019, and I'll be following Callaway and Santana's event study estimation strategy. For the identifying assumption, now in the absence of metro station, we expect that the reported crime statistics between the treated and the control police jurisdictions would have evolved following a similar trend. I'll show event study plots as well to show the proof, to provide evidence for the identifying assumption. But also, the metro construction sites were based on administrative and geographical factors, whether it was easy to get the permissions to build the metro in a place. For example, if we look at the Civil Lines metro station, the they had to dug below the IP college to run the metro from there. So the ease of getting the permission is one of the factors on how they decided on which places the metro should open. So it's not based on the crimes that are in a particular region, but due to different administrative and geographical factors. A brief preview of results. So what we see is that after the first metro station opens in a police jurisdiction, there is a reduction of 29.34% in the reports of sexual harassment on streets against women as compared to the control jurisdictions. It is not substituted by a corresponding increase in such crime reports at the metro police stations, or we do not see any impact on non-gender specific street crimes or on the overall reported crimes against women. And the results remain stable to using alternative control groups and estimation methods. And as I mentioned, the channels in the beginning, today I'll provide some suggestive evidence for the safety effect and the volume effect. And I'll provide some ideas on how I plan to disentangle the spatial and the reporting effect as well. Okay. Are there any questions till now, or should I move on?
You can move on, Anisha. You'll find that the workshop culture in non-economics talks allows the speaker a fair degree of latitude to presentation before they start, unlike in our discipline where we tend to interrupt. By
Yeah.
now, you've had about, you're already on slide 4, so by now you should have been stopped at least 8 times. That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So now I'll start with a bit of the background. So Delhi Metro was opened with an aim to improve connectivity and reduce congestion across Delhi and NCR area. The first metro line was inaugurated in 2002. And as of 2019, we have 286 metro stations all across Delhi. So what I will be doing is I'll be looking at all the metro stations that were, I can show you the phases as well. So these are the different metro lines and these are the opening dates. So all the stations that are highlighted here in red are those which were opened between 2016 to 2019. And these are the ones I will be focusing on. And I'll be using the opening dates and the location of these metro stations to identify my treatment and control groups. So as you can see here, so my treatment period is 2016 to 2019. The unit of analysis will be a police jurisdiction for now because right now I have the police reports at the level of the police jurisdictions and geocoding them to the smallest municipal ward level as of now. So here, all the police jurisdictions which are in pink color are those where the first metro station was opened between 2016 to 2019. All the jurisdictions that are here in white are those where there was no metro station as of 2019. And all those police jurisdictions which are in gray here are those where there was a metro station before 2016. So these are out of my analysis for now. I can show you an example as well. So for example, before 2016, Bindapur and Dabri did not have a metro station, but Janakpuri had. So Janakpuri is out of my analysis. Now between 2016 to 2019, the first metro station comes up in Dabri. So Dabri will be my treatment and Bindapur will be the control jurisdiction. For my right-hand side variable, I am using the first information reports. Now, these are, I think all of you would be knowing that these are the first-hand account of the description of crime and is lodged at the police station where the crime occurred. And they are stored on the website of Delhi Police. There are 147 police jurisdictions across the 4-year time period that I'm studying, 2016 to 2019. I'll move you through the data preparation strategy. I don't know if my screen, if it's big enough for you to see. This is a sample FIR. If it's not big enough, I can zoom it if you want. And
Not,
as you can see, it has, yeah.
yeah, it's not big enough, but I think, yes, that's good.
Yep. So basically, if you have a look at it, the FIR has all the detailed information on where the FIR was lodged, the date of the FIR, the sections under which the crime occurred, who the victim is. I had to color code the victim name and the accused name. What's the value of property involved? What's the exact description of crime that happened? And who the police officer is, who is the police officer who's signing the FIR. So all this information is on this FIR report. Okay. So what I did was I downloaded all these FIRs from the website of Delhi Police. And now these FIRs were scanned copies rather than typed copies, and the text was both in Hindi and English. So it took a considerable amount of time and effort and losing a lot of hair, after which I was able to get the data into an Excel format, which I could further use for my analysis. So in the end, I had approximately 300,000 reports, which were reported daily at every police station in Delhi between 2016 to 2019. So I've talked about my data. Now I'll be moving on to my estimation strategy. So if there's any doubt about the estimation strategy, please let me know. I'll try not to go into the technicalities, but just on the overview, I'm using a Callaway and Santana event study estimation strategy. Usually in two-way fixed effects, there has been we have to do the Goodman-Bacon decomposition to see whether we can just do the static two-way fixed effects. For my case, it's just 4% of the estimates are coming using the two-way fixed effects. But even so, I use the Callaway and Santana estimation strategy. And my control group will be not yet treated police jurisdictions. That is, all those police jurisdictions. So, for example, if I talk about Dabri, so if a metro station opened in Dabri in April 2016, then that will be my treated jurisdiction. And all the other jurisdictions where there was no metro station as of April 2016 will form the control group. So that is what is meant by not yet treated police jurisdiction. So what we see is that this is the event study plot. As you can see that we don't have any pre-trends, but after the metro station opens, we see that there's a reduction in the reports of sexual harassment crimes against women in public places in the jurisdictions where the first metro station came up, as compared to those where there was no metro station as of that time. And again, there might be questions here that, okay, the sexual harassment crime reports against women are reducing in the general police station, but what about the but what about the same crime reports in the metro stations? Maybe the crime is just getting displaced between the general police stations and the metros. However, I do not see any changes. However, I do not see this substitution of crimes happening between the streets and the metros. We also do not see any impact on the reports of non-gender specific street crimes, for example, theft. All of these, we don't see any effect. And again, we do not see any impact on all the crimes against women. It's only the reports of sexual harassment crimes against women in public places where we see the effect. These are the point estimates. And as we can see that the effect size is 29.34%. The mean number of such crimes was 6.635. And again, it remains robust to using the never treated control group and employing other event study estimation methods. For example, the Chase Martin, Sun and Abraham, and so on. I can show the plots as well. So these are the different estimation strategies. So you can see all of them give the similar sort of results. Okay, any questions still now, or I'll start with the mechanisms now?
Can you go back? Am I
go-
allowed to ask?
yeah, go ahead.
You were asking something?
You may as well make Anisha feel comfortable.
She likes questions. So I think just to get the background right, could you go back to the slide where you showed the treatment area and control area? That map? Yeah, this map. So what is the unit of your treatment area and control area? What is that? A
These are
ward,
police jurisdictions.
a police thana jurisdiction?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that wasn't clear to me. And then
Sorry.
maybe I just missed it, huh? And then you said that these were crimes against women that were reported in FIR. Okay.
Yes.
What
Yes.
was the nature of these crimes? Can you go into detail?
She has the section.
Not maybe further.
No. She has that. If you open up the FIR, each
section.
each FIR has a particular. Now, at that time, the IPC section, and now your.
No. But there should be some summary somewhere. No, we won't read each FIR. So what were the?
She's reading each FIR.
Yeah, but she's summarizing it for us, no?
So the question is, what Pushpa is asking is, do you have some kind of
Yes.
yeah, I mean, essentially a crosstab on nature of crimes.
Yeah, so basically these are the sections I have identified for now. So if you look at the sexual harassment crimes against women, these are all the crimes against women that are happening on street. So all the IPC sections that are 354 A, B, C, D, these are all related to, for example, stalking, molestation, it's going up to rape, and then eve teasing, all those sorts of crime.
Yeah,
and if
just give sections to us, we won't understand. You have to
right.
So
Right, I think.
From what I understand, she's grouped her crimes in these 4 categories.
And under sections that have some names, no?
She just wants to know which type of crimes I'm clubbing together,
yes.
I think. Yeah.
You are asking, you want to be sure that her mapping is correct.
No.
Yep.
No.
Oh.
Then
I want to know what are the crimes that are being studied. Okay, not the section numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a common person. No.
So at some point in time, maybe after the presentation, you can talk, or you can, unless you can pull out what is 326 and what is 354.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So these numbers are not of interest
Right.
to the audience. So
Right.
these numbers should be categorized in some say 4 or 5 categories, and you can put those. No, after
4.
all crime against women, all these
Subcategorizing.
subcategorization of the crimes in 4 or 5 different categories for us to understand. For example, domestic violence could be beating, could be burning, could be mental harassment. I don't know what those numbers are.
Right. No, I get your point.
Okay. Go ahead.
Defending the speaker.
No, I am happy with the clarification, but Pushpa is not, so you will get different feedback. So go ahead.
I'm happy. So just to clarify this point, so in domestic violence, the types of crime we have are all those crimes that are committed by the in-laws family or the husband. So which will include beating, dowry debts, harassment for dowry, any sorts of crime which involves the in-laws. Then the sexual harassment crimes against women, these are all the crimes that are happening on the street. For example, as I told you, it can range from just touching to raping. So it's the entire spectrum of all the crimes that the women have to face on the streets. Any sort of harassment. I can't hear you, I think. I can't hear anything. I think now I can.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you can,
This one.
okay.
Yes.
So is HOS harassment on street?
Yes. So it's harassment on street it's the short form for harassment on streets.
Okay.
And the non-gender specific street crimes will be all the street crimes that happen in public places, irrespective of the gender. So, for example, if someone is just creating public nuisance, if there's theft, so theft is not female specific, it can be for any of the two genders. So, these will be any sort of crime that you can imagine happening in the public place. Snatching.
Yeah, yeah. So you have taken on my suggestion that it will be better to subcategorize these
Right.
crimes for common
Right.
people like us, so
Mhm.
that we can relate to it better. But you have answered my question. So let's
Yes.
move on.
Okay. Okay, so now I'll move on to the mechanisms. So first of all is the this broad umbrella term of safety effect. So when there's a new transport opportunity, there'll be obviously we'll have a new mode of transport, so which will be better illuminated, which it will have improved security, it will have more surveillance cameras, better technology, and may present a faster and a more secure mode of public transport compared to, for example, if we are talking about Delhi, compared to buses. and and it's not just about the journey itself, it's also about the area that is surrounding the metro stations. So whenever these new stations are coming up, it's not just that the metro station is improving or the metro line is improving, it's also the area around the metro station. There might be improved walking path, for instance. There might be a better mix of male and female. There might be an increased percentage of females on the street, so they might feel safer. So these are the two sorts of effects that I'll be talking about in the safety effect, and I'll provide some suggestive evidence.
Just a quick
Mhm.
clarification, Nishad. There's a question from an attendee who's asking whether both domestic and public space crimes reduce, but my understanding from your presentation so far is public space crime reduced, but there was no effect on domestic crimes. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I'll start with the mode of transport effect. Yeah. So in the study period that I'm looking at, 2016 to 2019, there were two major lines on which the stations opened, magenta line and the pink line. Now, with the pink line, there was always an option of traveling by combining two lines. Like you can go to central Delhi. You can either go to Rajiv Chowk or Kashmiri Gate, Central Secretariat, and then move to the other part of Delhi. However, with the magenta line, the time saving of traveling from southwest Delhi to southeast Delhi were huge. Here, I took just two random points on the magenta line, and it's a 9 kilometer distance. And as you can see, by bus it takes 37 minutes, but by metro it takes just 17 minutes. It's all reducing it by almost half. So what I did was I split my treatment into these three lines: magenta, pink, and violet. And we can see that most of this impact is coming from the magenta line. So this establishes the fact that the I'll first speak on the next slide. Finally, this is a comparison of buses and metros. So as we can see that metros really provided a safer environment for women to travel, and it also presented with safer, cleaner, well-lit metro stations for women to travel even at night. At night, I don't think the bus stops are that well lit at night for females to stand there safely and wait for a bus. So here what I did was I looked at all the crime reports. I did a text analysis to figure out all the crimes that are happening on the buses or on the bus stops or around the buses. And again, I split my treatment by magenta and pink line, and I see that all the police jurisdictions where a station on Magenta Line opened are the ones where we saw a huge decrease in the reports of sexual harassment crimes against women. Now, this can be happening for a number of reasons. For instance, that now maybe the women are not taking bus as much now because there's a metro, they're traveling by metro, and as a result, we see this reduction in crimes on the buses because there are no women traveling on the buses now. I don't have the ridership data. I only have it at the aggregate level, and it's not differentiated by gender, so I couldn't use it. But based on the statistics from National Institute of Urban Affairs, we see that between 2007 and 2018, the model split of metros compared to buses. We see that there is indeed a ride in metro. There's an increase in ride in number of people using metros as compared to buses. So it might be the case that after the metro station opens, women switch to metro stations, and as a result, we see a decrease in crimes that are happening on the buses or bus stands. Next is I think I should search for a better name for this, but this is, so now we talked about the journey in itself with the better mode of transport, but now a better transport alternative also improves the surroundings around it. So for this, I used the data from Safety Pin. I think I don't know if they are today in the audience or not. So I would like to. I'm very grateful to them for giving me this data. So Safety Pin is an app where if, for example, I'm standing right outside my house, I can just give a safety score to that area. I can give it a safety score on the basis of is there a safe walk path for me? Is there a crowd? If it's crowded, do I see police officer nearby? Is there clear visibility? Are there any black spots? And these are the different parameters on which users report the safety of an area. It's completely user reported. So what I did was, one second, I'll zoom it. So this is the metro station, this pink dot. I created a radius of 500 meters around the metro station and another radius of 1 kilometer around the metro station. So all the points which are these yellow points, which are within the 500-meter radius of the metro station, will be the treatment. And all the points which are outside which are in the 500-meter to 1 kilometer radius are the control group. So after the metro station opens, we see that the safety score of the point, or the safety score within the 500-meter radius improves compared to that of 500-meter to 1 kilometer radius. And also, if I consider all the points within the 1 kilometer radius, as we move away from the metro station, the safety score reduces. And I can show that it holds true for all the parameters that people are rating upon. So I think this provides suggestive evidence for the safety of the metro stations and the metro rail. Not just the Safety Pin data, there were other surveys that were conducted. The first was the survey by the NGO Jagori, which was in collaboration with Delhi government and UN Women for the Safe Cities Initiative in 2012. So more than 50% of the respondents there said that they felt that bus stops, streets, or parks were unsafe, whereas only 20% echoed the same sentiment for metro stations. Then there was another survey which was for the top 15 populated cities in India, which said that only 12% of the people reported buses to be safe, while 48% reported metros or trains to be safer. So, okay. Next is the volume effect. So with the improved transportation access, it might be the case that there are more women coming closer to the areas with the metro station to access these services, which means that there's an increase in the victim pool in those areas. And as a result, it presents with more opportunities, and we should be seeing an increase in reported crimes in such areas. However, we are not seeing any increase. So here, I don't want to say whether the volume effect is into play or not. I would just say that maybe the safety effect is overpowering the volume effect. I don't have a way of ruling it out, but it just says that the safety effect is greater than the volume effect here, or it can be volume in numbers as well. I think there was a question.
The question was whether you've taken into account the free travel scheme for women in buses, but that is post 2019. I think it's sometime
Yes, I think
October.
it's February 20. Yeah, it's right before COVID.
It doesn't structure in that.
No.
Simply. Thanks. Go ahead.
Okay. Now is the spatial effect, which is a work in progress. So the idea here is that to access the new transport opportunities, again, people will travel from neighboring areas to the areas with these metro stations, which may decrease crimes in neighboring areas because there are an increased pool of people in the areas with the metro stations. So what I'm doing right now is that I am geocoding all these crimes. I have the exact place where the crime occurred. I'm geocoding those crimes to exact municipal or census ward levels. And what I'll do is I'll create a boundary. So if for example, Dabri was treated, I can remove all the wards that share a boundary with Dabri. That will give me a cleaner control group to compare. This is what I'll be trying to do to disentangle the spatial effect and see how the effect trickles down. The other
But
idea Mhm,
but Anisha, what you just showed us in the analysis of the safety pin data is
mhm,
that there is a gradient, right, in terms of the
mhm.
effect.
Yes.
So why, going by that logic, you would expect the neighborhood effect to be sufficiently weak by the time you have sort of reached the boundary, so to speak, depending, of
Mhm.
course, on the size of the census board and so on and so forth.
Right.
But doesn't this sort of tell you that you should not expect to find too much of a neighborhood effect?
Mhm, mhm. Uh, but I will have to rule it out as well. And the if I rule out if there's not hmm, mhm. This makes sense. Hmm.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's, you can take it in advisement and move on. Can you just go back to the previous graph, please, once, and just and there are no sort of time effects, right? I mean, there isn't like, I mean, Diwali, huge increase in, metro ridership. There is no sort of, over the course of the year, there isn't really major differences in ridership and so on that might affect something like this. Even in your crime statistics, you don't see any particular difference in
I
longer
think
longer
mhm,
nights in winter, therefore more crimes.
mhm.
There, anything of, are there any
Seasonality
yes?
effects. So for the seasonality effects, I have the time fixed effects in my regression equation as well. So it will be
Mhm.
controlling for all the differences in the times.
And that is quarter wise or month wise? How is
So
it?
my analysis right now is at a quarterly basis. But after I'm able to get the data to a more granular level, I might be able to take it down to a more granular time level as well.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Finally, I would like to talk about the reporting effect because I think this is one of the most important critiques in the economics of crime literature, and everybody just hinges upon this particular aspect of the paper. So here, what I would like to talk about, I think I gave this example in the beginning as well. So, with improved access to education and employment opportunities, women might feel more empowered. They might become financially independent as well. And as a result, their tolerance to domestic abuse or other sorts of harassments might reduce, and they might start increasing, they might start reporting more. The other thing is that with the opening of metro station, because there's an increased security personnel in the area, it might make reporting more lucrative. So it's more easier for me to report. So I can just report easy. If it's less costly for me to report, I'll just report more. However, we see that the reported sexual harassment crimes against women are going down, and we do not see any change in the reports of domestic violence or the non-gender specific street crimes. Coupled with the improvement in safety pins safety score after the metro stations open, it seems that maybe the reported crimes are following the trajectory of actual incidents. However, again, one cannot be sure of this. So what I will be doing here, I'll be doing an additional check here where I will take the date of occurrence of crime and the date of the reporting of crime. So if, for example, there's a lag between the date of occurrence and the reporting of crimes after the metro station opened, it might indicate the presence of reporting effect. So, for example, if I continue with my example of females becoming more empowered, and they're starting to report more. So it might be the case that there was some domestic violence going in my house before the metro opened, but now after the metro opened, I'm more aware and I would like to report it. So if I'm reporting a type of crime with a delay after the metro station opens, that means that there might be a reporting effect and it's not the actual incidence of crime. So I can use this particular methodology as well to rule out talk about the reporting effect in detail. Yeah, I guess this was more or less my presentation. And in terms of contribution to the literature, I talked to two strands of literature in economics. One is the economics of crime literature, those which are particularly talking about crimes against women. I think the most recent paper is of Nirvika Jassal and Sophia Amaral and Sonia Balotra, where they're talking about opening of all women police stations in India and its effect on reporting of crimes. So how I'm different from all these earlier papers is that, first of all, I'm not doing the analysis at the district level. I'm going down to the police station level. If we look at all the earlier studies in India, most of them are focusing on the statistics from the NCBR, which does not present the statistics at the police station level or at the quarterly level. They are the aggregated statistics at the district and the year level. Only the paper by Jassal is the one which is using the FIR reports. It's for the state of Haryana. And I think, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first research to find that providing safe transportation access decreased the reported sexual harassment crimes against women. And the results also underscore the importance of providing females with the safe and transportation facilities. The other type of literature that I'm talking about is the effect of mass transport and transit infrastructure on crimes in a region. The most recent paper is by Gaurav Khanna, who talks about the impact of opening of cable bus in Mexico, and he talks about how the crime is being transported from a higher crime region to a lower crime region when the different regions in a city get connected. And he also looks at how labor market opportunities are getting transported. However, what I do is I'm focusing specifically on the intersection between transport expansion and women's safety. Thank you so much, and I'll be happy to take any questions now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Melvin. I'm a RE with Chess Jobs Network.
Mhm.
So my question is, so when you look at the reporting effect, do you also look at who is filing the complaint? Is it the woman or it's some male member of the family? Because I think Jassal has a paper from 24 where he looks at like whether the gender of the person who is filing the complaint has an effect. I think in that he kind of finds out that if a man is filing a case, I think the access to justice is faster compared to a woman filing for herself. So is that something you're looking into?
I can look at the name of the complainant and I can So right now, I am doing all this text analysis in the background. So I'm looking at so basically, again, as you pointed out, so if a male member of the family is reporting the crime, then the complainant's name will be the name of the male person who is filing the report. However, to get the details about the female involved, the age, her employment status, her education status, I'll have to read through the FIR contents of the FIR contents. So right now, I haven't incorporated that into my analysis, but I will be including that. However, I don't think I'll be including the comparison of whether a male person is filing a report or a female person, because what matters here is that the number of reports is going down. What matters here is that there's a reduction in crimes.
I mean, this was mostly regarding the reporting time. You said like an incident might
Mm-hmm.
happen on a certain day, and when
Mm-hmm.
is that FIR charged and the due process kicks in, right? So I think, yeah. So my point comes from that paper mostly, which is
Mm-hmm.
also President CPR.
Uh-huh.
There, he kind of argues that when a male member is filing the case, like the first incident happens and the time between the incident and the actual FIR lodging, I think it's less compared to a woman doing it. So this might be very useful to also go through the gender of the person
Mm-hmm.
filing the case. Yeah, that was my point. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll definitely take it into account, and I'll also go back and
Well, Anisha, you have, I think you have what, 3 questions and maybe more. So
okay.
maybe you can sort of take them in groups and then sort of take it from there.
Okay.
So the first one is from Smriti Singh. Would you like to ask that question, Smriti? You are unmuted now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so there are a couple of questions that I had about the study. One is that there are a number of intervening variables that have not been accounted for, including the
Mm-hmm.
presence of CISF officials on the metro stations, and therefore the first line of reporting would not ideally be the police station. The first line of reporting would be the CISF officials that are available on the metro station, and usually the trend that we see with law enforcement in India is that cases that are not dire and serious are discouraged from being reported. So the first line of reporting would determine how many cases actually passed their judgment for these women to actually then go and file a FIR at the police station. The other was that because you talk about empowerment
So,
for low tolerance for abuse and high reporting rates, and National Family Health Survey data contradicts that kind of an idea. So we do see prevalence of domestic violence among highly educated women and low rates of reporting despite significant number of instances of domestic violence. So reporting among economically empowered, economically independent, educated women, highly educated women is also significantly low as compared to the incidence. So that was just one comment. And the question, of course, is how do you account for the intervening variables such as CISF officials on metro stations? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Take that, Anisha, just take the others, a couple of others, and then you can maybe try them together, because the next one is from Kanchan. Kanchan, you are unmuted, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, hello, Anisha. I was curious. I was curious to know about your using the safety pin app data. So, in your selected neighborhoods, how many women were using the safety pin app? And like, you know, from my understanding, I know that many working class women don't have smartphones, so they won't know how to use the app, or even like middle class women also not aware of safety pin app. So how do you account for the representation of these women in your like whatever conclusions you're drawing? How do you account for these women?
Right. Okay. And Ankita, you had a question.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hello Anisha. Thanks for the
Hi.
presentation. This is Ankita from Safety Pin. And I had just one question, Anisha.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that was covered before I joined because I joined a little late. So I think you have taken the data for all the metro stations around Delhi, right?
Yes.
I was just wondering that was there any, did you see any differences around different metro stations? I see that you have spoken about the sexual harassment reporting of women around different metro stations. So, in your understanding or in your research, were there any specific metro stations where you found that the rate of reporting was higher or lower? And this was directly correlated to the safety pin data? Were you able to draw some inferences around this?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Anisha. I think you have quite a few questions now, roughly within the
Okay.
same order.
So I think I'll wrap the safety pin question. So first of all, thank you, Ankita, for this suggestion. I haven't done the analysis of correlating the number of reports around the metro stations and the safety pins, the number of people who are giving the safety pin score. I think this is a very good idea that I should do, and it will, I think, answer a lot of questions that I keep getting. Um, and of course, I'll talk to you after that. As for Kanchan's question about the representative sample, I think if we have the safety pin people on the line, they will be better able to answer your question, I guess.
Okay, and then the first one.
Smriti's question.
Yes.
So, Smriti, your question is that there are CISF personnel on the metro stations, and if they don't find the case to be strong enough, it will just be discarded on the spot. So, when I'm talking about the estimates here, I'm looking at the general police stations. Now, for the metro stations, there are separate metro police stations, as you mentioned. So I'm looking at all the crimes that were reported at those metro police stations. And if I look at the effect size between 2016 to 2019, so I talk about a reduction of 29.34% crimes. That's an effect size of almost 271 reports of sexual harassment crimes. While if I look at all the reports that are reported at the metro police stations, between 2016 to 2019, only 42 of them are those that correspond to the reports of sexual harassment cases against women. So comparing 271 and 42, I don't think there's a substitution effect, but I think you are right. There might obviously be a dismissal of cases based on the severity, but I think the same is true for general police stations as well. So again, I don't have a way of disentangling the reporting versus the actual incidents, but this is the best I can do right now without a survey.
Right. Yes. Gurkirat. Go ahead.
Can you just cross the chat? Hi, Anisha. Thank you for the
Hi.
presentation. My name is Gurkirat. I'm a senior research associate at the Center for Policy Research. And based on some of our own work here, we've realized that commuters in Delhi, and in fact, in most Indian cities, exhibit a high transport modality across various modes, which is to say that they frequently switch between metro, buses, and auto rickshaws in a single journey. And I wonder if there's a way for you to incorporate some sort of an index on transport modality, which not just captures intramodal transfer, which I believe you've already done, but also captures intermodal transfers to and from a metro station to broadly
Mm-hmm.
understand how reported crime rates differ between commuters with high modal interchange compared to those with more direct travel patterns. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. So I think you're talking about the last mile connectivity, right? So how am I coming home because metro station might be a 500-meter walk from my home. So how am I traveling back? Am I walking back or am I taking a rickshaw back, right?
Yeah, broadly in those lines, yeah.
So again, for this, again, I'm doing a text analysis. So if you see the FIR that I have here, it says it talks about a theft of mobile phone between the metro And it says that so I had to change the metro at Rajiv Chowk. So I read all the FIRs that were happening, that were reported for all the crimes happening on buses and bus stands. So usually the crime reports are structured in such a way that they talk about where the person was going to, where the person is coming from, whether the person was walking and then taking a bus, whether the person was walking, taking a bus, and then switching to metro. So I can look into this data, and I will be doing a text analysis to find that linkage and then identifying the true effect as well. Yeah. This will take some time, yes, but this is something that is ongoing in the back.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunita, I was just wondering in case you had something to contribute. If you're still there, that is. Just checking to see whether she is. I don't see her in the. There she is.
I also want to add to one of the question I think that Kanchan raised about the empowered women reporting less. So I think this this question was raised once before as well. So to talk about this, I was thinking of looking at the relation between the reporting of crimes and the employment rates for women from the census of 2011. So I think then I can talk more about the reporting rates of educated or employed women compared to the other ones.
Sure. Sunita, you are,
Yeah.
if you just unmute yourself and go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, you can hear me? Thank
Yes,
Yes.
loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Ankita. A very, very interesting study. You know, I'm wondering because even in the informal justice mechanisms, and in this case, colleague did mention about the CRPF being the first point of reporting. All over, we are seeing a reduction in reporting. And part of me, over and above many other reasons, is also the fact that there's no trust in the police. We know that. And two is on the follow-up. So while you're looking at registration, I mean, you're looking at the FIRs registered, etc., you might want to look at where does it end? Where has it gone to? I mean, has the case progressed? Has it just got stuck at reporting? All of that, because somewhere that answer also lies, therein. And I know that's not the focus of your study, but just as a matter of interest. My second point is that I was co-led the study of Jagori, which you reported, yeah. And that was many, many years ago, of course. We actually advocated for a women's compartment in the metro. Initially, there wasn't any for some degree of safety till time comes where, you can travel freely wherever you want to and however you want to. So there is definitely a far more, I have seen the data and over time realized that the metro is a far more safer transit for women, young women especially, than the buses. So just some thoughts there. And as you're looking at the data, as you said, you might want, as you're saying, whether they're employed women, students, because we looked at the age groups of the reporting, and you're reporting FIR, everyone's above 18, right? Obviously, in the police station.
Yeah, but for younger children, it's their parents or elder siblings.
There are reports by minors as well, where parents have filed the report.
Yes.
I think you might want to look at that. That the minor versus adult young women, age, along with other factors that you're looking at. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for your suggestions.
Sure. Thanks very much. I have two more questions. It seems that the crime reporting, the crimes against women are being reported quite a lot by just by the numbers. I'm getting a sense. And at the same time, we know that very often crimes against women go unreported. People just keep quiet and they say it happened once, or somebody touched me, it may be my mistake, or you feel embarrassed talking about it. So how do you explain, if at all you see that there have been an increase in reporting of crime against women? Why is it happening? This is one question. And I know it's not a part of your methodology. Your study is very much data-based and data analysis. But when you were thinking of doing this study or preparing it, or at some time during the course of the study, you were curious to go out to a metro station and talk to some women at least to get a sense of what's going on? I would have done that. I would be standing at a metro station and stopping people and talking and getting a sense. I mean, sometimes data doesn't tell you everything. There are stories behind it. So
this is the exact time period. This is the exact time period when I used to travel using the metro from North Delhi to Gurgaon for my work. This is exactly the same time period.
No, but did you talk to people?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay. So the two questions. The first question, please respond to that.
So the first question is about females not reporting the crime because they might think, okay, it's just a one-time thing and it will not happen further. So again, here I am talking about so if you imagine, if we look at entire Delhi, and if we imagine the same types of crimes are happening, right? Even in the places where there was no metro station, females will still think, okay, it's just a one-time harassment. Maybe it will not happen again, so I'll not report it. So the reporting sentiment across Delhi, be it controlled jurisdictions or treated jurisdictions, will be the same. I'll not say will be the same. I'm just saying I assume that it will be the same. And again, I think you are right in saying so because when I was reading these FIRs, I could see that females say, okay, it's not just the first time that this person is following me. I have seen this person following me 3-4 times, and he's following me for the past week, or he's harassing me every time I take this particular route. So all these things are there, but the reporting sentiment across different Delhi will reporting sentiment across people will remain the same, be it the metro or not the metro. So I don't think there should be a difference in the reporting between the treated and the controlled jurisdictions. I don't know if I answered the question or not.
I think so. That's okay for now. Maybe your study is still progressing and you will have answered many questions. So, Shubham, question?
So, I know I was just, Anisha, just checking to see if there are other questions on the rock, and I'll just get back to you. But a couple of follow-ons from, no, not yet. So, two questions, one speculation and one question. One is specific to what Sunita asked about crime seriousness. And also earlier, is it possible, for example, to look at, since you have, well, it's going to be tough because it will require you to go to, or maybe the treatment of the control story, which is, if you look at the cases which get resolved between treatment and control, and if we sort of assume if there's whether there's a difference in the level of resolution between treated areas and control areas,
Okay.
And assuming that resolution sort of has some
Mm-hmm.
correlation with the seriousness of the crime, that people sort of tend to take it more seriously, follow up, whatever the story is. Of course, I could tell stories that would go the other way around also. But I mean, I'm just curious as to whether your data set allows you to sort of look at whether or not an FIR was closed or something was filed, and between these two kinds of jurisdictions, given the data that you have. That's and whether that can be used in some sense. And the second is also, of course, to go back to what Pushpa was asking earlier, whether you can look at the sections and sort of break up between, let us say, serious and less serious, depending on the extent of sentence that is there for different kinds of offenses, and see whether there has been any change in that. So I'm just looking for a slightly more granular classification of what you have actually put together.
Right.
That's one. And the second is, so here is a possible hypothesis, and I have no idea how you would test it. So I'm just putting it out and you can think through it. So let's assume that you have all these people who are involved in street level harassment are bunches of young people with nothing to do. And once a metro station opens up, maybe just like you had opportunities open up in Gurgaon, maybe they have opportunities open up somewhere else. And fundamentally, you just reduce the number of hangers-on, so to speak, around metro stations, because a whole bunch of these guys now have places to go to and things to do. So is it possible that one of the reasons that you actually see a reduction is because, quote unquote, potential
Perpetrators are.
The population of perpetrators goes down with the opening of a metro station?
So I would love to see if the number of potential perpetrators go down, but again, there's a data availability issue with this sort of thing.
Data at one level would be there, because you actually, whether DMRC will share it or not is an interesting question, because a lot of people who would actually go into, like you, for example, who are regular users of the metro and most probably start using a metro card. And many of them often might have, because some basic information about metro cards are involved. Some of it is used to be obtained online. Now there is a variety of structures that floating through. You can check to see whether that is happening or whether they're moving into different locations. So that's the kind of sort of information that might be available but might not be. So it's a different story altogether. There might also be metro surveys that are done from time to time. But the other issue would essentially try and get a sense as to whether there has been you're looking at other street level, you see a reduction, you don't see a reduction in non-street crime, but do you not street level non-gendered crime? Do you see anything, because you see, you said theft, etc., but those are not necessarily street level. It's more like snatching, etc., that would be street level. So
yeah, so by theft, I meant simple snatching or pickpocketing, those sorts of crimes.
Okay, all right. So if that's the case, then that's so it's not really that part of the structure, but yes, to the extent that you have these kinds of structures, that would be a different story in that story as to whether or not there is an increase in the perpetrators. I don't know what. If you think about a method for checking that, that's something that you can go through. And the other is it possible for you to look at the filing of the intensity of crimes by sections you can definitely look at.
Yes.
But is there a way of actually looking to see if the FIRs have been acted upon in your data set?
Not in my data set, but I think but I think there should be a way to see the FIR status. I don't know what's the availability of the data yet, but I think there should be something to know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there should be.
Shamindra Roy has another question. Shamindra, you can unmute and ask.
No, not really. I don't have a question. I was just, the CISF questions puzzles me a bit. I also have just joined really late, so really missed the crux of the presentation. What I think is that categorization of crime plays a big role in the designing of this study, like this street notice. You have to see the recording and come back with specific questions if possible. But on the CISF thing, I was just thinking like, CISF was always there. So from an idea that why, if I see from a metro station perspective, if CISF is usually the presence of CISF leads to a reduction of reporting, then it should be always the case. Why it's the case now and not before? But then reported that the new stations are there. So again, like it's an interesting econometric outcome. I think like if you add a location-based security layer, an added layer over the police station, and going through your results, it may actually lead to a drop in crime reporting. So I was thinking how to interpret that. But again, like my idea is not very concrete at this point. I have to really listen to the whole thing, how you designed.
So to follow on from that, Anisha, was there a clarity as to whether the reporting comes from, or the drop in crimes comes from the fact that there is no, so part of the crime reporting on street level harassment was within transport crime, so like people getting harassed inside buses. And in the case of the metro, since it is a more closed, secure environment with reporting, etc., I'm assuming that reports that you can see from the FIRs are not happening. I don't know what percentage of your reports are actually happening inside or on a metro train. That is one. And as opposed to, let's say, in the other mode, as to what percentage is happening inside the buses and outside the buses in some sense. But otherwise, what is your thesis about the effect of in the neighborhood? Is it just simply the extra police presence and some kind of effect as a result of that? Is it as a result of more eyes on the street? Is it as a result of surveillance? Do you have any thoughts on what is driving that effect of the neighborhood story that you are finding in your data?
Yeah, so for the neighborhood story right now, the hypothesis is only based on the safety pin data, and the audit points where the people are reporting these particular safety scores, they are in open spaces. So these points are not while I'm traveling on the metro. These will be if I'm standing outside the metro station, if I'm standing at the bus stop. So they speak somewhat to the neighborhood effect for now. The other way to look at it is, so they do have the lighting presence as one of the parameters. However, the other way to look at it is look at the number of street lights, number of functional street lights across Delhi, and see and see how they change between the treated areas where the metro station is there compared to those where there's no metro station. The other thing I can look at is I can look at the nighttime lights data to look at the illumination between the treated areas and the control areas as well.
Sure.
And I think for the walk path as well, so the public works, the PWD has different sorts of they have different scheduled work. So we need to improve. We need to work on this particular walk path. So I can probably look at the list of all the things that they are doing. And I think I can curate a different set based on different government agencies to see what's the type of construction in public spaces that they're doing to maybe talk about the neighborhood effect, as you're mentioning, the walk path, street lighting, and so on.
Thank you. You can also, so maybe SafetyPin can just run a short survey on their app to see why the people feel safer
Right.
if Ankita is still there. There's a question from Monolita. You're unmuted. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, hi. Actually, a part of it you just answered right now. That was about the physical infrastructure because I am also studying not in terms of safety, but in terms of comfort. I'm studying women's response to public spaces. And one of the things that
You just went mute, Monolita.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
you're back again. Can you just repeat what you said in the last few minutes, last
Yeah,
30 seconds?
Yeah, so there is, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a lot of anxiety women express when there is also broken infrastructure. So I see that you have focused your study on actual crime reports, but is there any umbrella that you're looking at which also signifies fear of crime aspect for women? Okay, just a question about that, whether you have any part of your survey which is also pinning onto the fear of crime understanding of women. That is number one. And second thing is that whether safety is only being defined as gender-based crimes for you, or are you also looking at safety as women feel in terms of usage of infrastructure?
So I am currently looking at safety in terms of gendered crimes. And if we talk about infrastructure, all of it is the part of the mechanism story of why do we see a reduction. If we are seeing a reduction in reported crimes, why are we seeing the reduction in reported crimes? So as you mentioned, it includes the look and feel, right? If I feel comfortable traveling to the metro station, if I even feel comfortable traveling on the metro line, I might not feel comfortable there. So I think by looking at the reported crimes, I am able to capture some of that. And by looking at these user reported safety scores, I'm able to talk more about the feel. And as for infrastructure, as I just mentioned, I will be looking at a few other things. For example, the street lights is one of the examples.
Okay, so one follow-up to this was that you are the infrastructure, the feel of a space you are mainly taking from the SafetyPin app, right? That's what I
Yes.
understand. So does that, I mean, maybe this question is less relevant for Delhi and more relevant for where I am in Cochin, but what percentage of public transport users amongst women are comfortable using an app? That could be a factor, right, for us to really capture the real feel of a space. Because, I mean, what I have found through my work is that, and actually SafetyPin did do a small pilot in Trivandrum where they found the same. I am based out of Cochin, And in Trivandrum, they did find that smartphones were something which many women who are very dependent on public transport, especially the lower socioeconomic group women, were very averse to or did not really understand how to use it. So I'm just like trying to understand whether you are purposefully leaving out some groups or to just focus your study. I mean, it's fine. That's also fine. But whether that has factored into your understanding.
I think Sunita also raised her hand. Maybe she has a follow-up question on this. So I can take both of them together.
Sunita, you are unmuted.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that the Safety Pin app is not an emergency app. Okay, it is not to report a crime. So that is the government app, right? But what the Safety Pin app does, as you were saying, is that it also, part of the data is infrastructure, access to services, etc., is also access to the police station, awareness of it, and therefore it has all the numbers and everything there so people can access it. And you're right, in the hurry that women travel, men travel, others, gender diverse people travel, they don't they look at they look at social media apps more than they would look at safety apps or know even the emergency helpline numbers. Inevitably, most of them do not know the emergency helpline numbers in my experience, even going to many colleges today in Delhi. So I think what's important, something is striking me, and I'm not sure I'm thinking correctly, but if it's okay, you can look at it, Ankita. It is this, what is the data on one of the indicators of Safety Pin app and access to police stations and your crime reporting? Is there any correlation there? Because the Safety Pin app is more like a prevention. It's to make the state aware of what needs to be in place, from lighting to infrastructure to security, eyes on the street, all of that. And so if you can do some kind, I mean, I don't know if it's possible. You're working on data, so there is Safety Pin data and there's your data. Look at that if that's possible. What is that? What is the gap between what that app is saying vis-a-vis access to police station and reporting and your reporting? So just a thought there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunita,
I think, yeah.
Sunita, I mean, I know this is more for Kalpana than for you, but do you know of any surveys by Safety Pin on its user base? I mean, the whole who uses Safety Pin kind of story. Has there been something like that done?
I don't know about their recent data. Is Ankita online from Safety Pin?
No, she isn't.
But we can look at that. We can look at that because, sometimes the database comes from users of the app. Sometimes there's a walk that takes place with state agencies and others of neighborhood walks. Young people take walks and then they feed in the data, evening times largely. So that's the way the data gets accessed. And then there are those that use the app, and the police also collects data occasionally. So I don't know which data sets you're looking at, Anisha, but I will tell Kalpana about this and we can get back to you on that data set that may help you also in your research. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I was looking for that data, but I think the data I got from Safety Pin was basically the latitude and longitude of the point where the user reported and the safety scores for different parameters.
No, I think what Partha is asking about is any survey they have done the users. So I don't know of that right now, but I'm out of the country right now, a little distant, but I'll talk to Kalpana about it soon. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Right, questions. Anupam, do you have a question? Or
I think I did not answer Monolitha's question. So if I understand correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. So the question is that because people are in a hurry and when they're traveling, they might not be using safety apps like Safety Pin, but they'll be using other apps, right? That's the question, right?
No. What I was asking is whether when you restrict, I mean, I just want to know whether you deliberately restricted your feel of the space data to an app with an awareness that maybe that app or the use of smartphone in itself can exclude a lot of women who are public transport dependent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not sure whether it is as valid a question as in Delhi as it is in say Cochin or Trivandrum, because in Cochin and Trivandrum we do find large sections of lower socioeconomic group women who are very dependent on everyday usage of public transport and public transport spaces, not having the use of smartphones. So
Okay.
they do not really have. So I don't know whether it is equally valid in Delhi. I'm just talking about from my observation over here. I just wanted to know whether you are aware of this, whether it's a deliberate decision, or whether you have actually interrogated it and found that it is not relevant for Delhi. However, I mean, either of this.
I think again, so for this particular question, like Partha just mentioned about if they have any survey, I think that would be a step in this direction. Right now, I don't have an answer for it, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, right. Thanks.
Right, Anupam, you are unmuted. Do you want to come in?
No, I wasn't sure he heard me last time, so I just want to say I did not have a question. Thanks.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Right.
I can't see myself. Okay.
Sure. Thank you. So thank you, Anisha. It's wonderful study going forward and incredible data set with which you can do many things. So I'm actually rather despondent looking at your study at this point in time, because what you are telling me is the only way we can get to women's safety is if we provide these kinds of really restricted spaces, a sort of a tunnel, a security tunnel from point A to point B, which is not going to be feasible for most spaces around this country, because obviously there's only a certain number of spaces where you can actually run metros. And also, given the user base, and this is one of the things that comes through, you would find that the demographics that would actually be using the metro would be somewhat disproportionately from higher income classes, purely because of the difference, and especially now even more so because buses are free and metros are not. And I don't know whether the increasing number of women on buses because of free buses actually has helped in exactly the same kind of thing that you're talking about. But absent that, which is why it sort of makes me despondent in the sense of I'm trying to figure out what kinds of interventions that could be there that would actually improve both women's feeling of safety and actual safety as defined by these reported crimes. And while it is encouraging to hear that metros are helping, the sadder part is there's only so much that metros can do. And which is why it'd be interested to look forward to what your spillover effects and those kinds of benefits are. To what extent, for example, even if there is, let us say, a co-located bus stop and a metro stop, whether that sort of helps part of the story, etc., going forward. So thank you, and good luck with your thesis going forward. Just hang on a second. There seems to be, before I close, as I said, yes, right. Anupam, you will have, of course, the presentation will be available online in a couple of days. But whether or not there is a paper or draft available, I'll leave Anisha to answer. And if there is one, we can happily sort of add that in the show notes. Going
I
forward.
have SSRN link. I'll just post it on the chat here. 1 second.
Okay, sure. So if you can just also mail it to us, we'll make sure it's there along with the YouTube link when we put up the recording.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, Anisha.
I have posted the link, the
Sure.
SSRN link here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Pleasure.
so much. Thank you.
So,
Danny?
I need to have Arnaz come in before I can leave.
Yeah, okay.